China in July, a medical epidemiologist embedded in China's disease control agency, and it was just months before the first cases were spotted in Wuhan. So the question is basically why the post was eliminated and
Well, I could ask anybody, would you like to take that one, Bob? But you know, this is just like all of the other stuff that you, not you, but that the press was asking, all of which turned out to be, we actually gave CDC more money, not less money. They said we defund it. It turned out it was more money. Every one of those things that were said were 100% wrong. And this sounds like another one of them, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, as you know, CDC has offices all around the world right now to do our function to detect and prevent and respond to outbreaks where they occur. The China office is actually being augmented as we speak, and we've been embedded there for over 30 years. There's a reason they call it the Chinese CDC, because we've had that productive partnership.
Mr. President, I wish, again, our relationship with China is a very good relationship. I wish they told us 3 months sooner that this was a problem. We didn't know about it. They knew about it, and they should have told us. We could have saved a lot of lives throughout the world. If you look at what's happening in Italy and Spain and a lot of other countries, we could have saved a lot of lives throughout the world. Kelly?
Mr. President, given the diagnosis for Senator Paul and people being self-quarantined, what concerns do you have about the direct threat to the function of the Senate, the ability to get this important package that people are waiting for passed? And should Americans be expecting you to extend the 15 days, given the climate of how this is spreading at this point?
Well, I hope we won't have to, if possible, but we'll have to see how that works. As far as the Senate is concerned, we are looking at some of the folks are feeling very good. Some are quarantined, but they're negative. They may be totally fine, okay? Others are positive. We're just finding this now for the first time. I mean, over the last 2 days we found out.
Do you see it as a threat to the aid package that Americans are waiting for?
No, I don't see any threats at all. Honestly, I don't see any threats at all. It'll all work out. It is a question, and a very good question, I thought, that we are considering. I don't know if you can do it constitutionally, but we are considering letting people vote, senators, congressmen and women, vote from a separate location, from outside, namely a hospital or a home, depending on where they are. So we are looking at that. It's a little trickier question than most people would believe, but we are looking at that very strongly.
Mr. President, speaking of this, I think Kelly was kind of alluding to it. While we've been up here, they weren't able to get the 60 votes to move the package for the cloture vote. I'm just curious, just your reaction to that, sir. And then, what is Mitch McConnell telling you and Secretary Mnuchin?
Well, we're dealing with them all the time, and we're dealing with Mitch. We're dealing with the other side. Everybody wants to get there. We'll see what happens. I think you'll get there. It's to me, it's not very complicated. We have to help the worker. We have to save the companies. Because as soon as we're finished with this war, it's not a battle, it's a war. As soon as we're finished with this war, our country is going to bounce back like you've never seen before. But we have to get into that position, and we have to make sure that those companies are whole, that they haven't been disbanded. Because if you do that, it's going to take much longer. So in a way, it's being penny wise if you don't. But we want to help the worker. We want to help the companies that the workers come from. Because if those companies go out of business, and that includes small businesses, we have a tremendous amount of small business working there, you know that. Once they go out and they don't come back, that's a much longer period of building.
Sir, I apologize. There was a woman that was an American that was she being tortured? What was going on there?
Bad things were happening to her in a certain country, and we're really under the feeling that we should keep it somewhat private until she's already been freed. And I have to tell you, General Milley and his people were unbelievable. They were not playing games. General Milley does not play games. He's a very interesting guy. They got her out. They got her out of a secretary where she was seriously abused, accosted, and whatever the maximum word is, other than death, that happened. But we got her out, and she's okay, and she's back with her parents.
Can I ask you one last question, sir? It's something I've just been curious about. Previous crises like the tsunami, Katrina, past presidents, they've called their predecessors and said, hey, I need you to step in, do something like that. Do you have any interest in reaching out to Presidents Bush, Obama, Clinton, Carter, or talking to them? I'm just curious if that's something you would consider or not.
Look, I have the best people in the world. I think we're doing an extraordinary job. If you look at, let's say the H1N1, you look at that was a disaster. That was a tough period of time for our country. You look at so many other things that weren't handled very well, whether it's Katrina or something else. Look, I respect everybody, but I feel I have an incredible team, and I think we're doing an incredible job. When you look at the job we're doing, and all you have to do is look at the approval numbers on the job we're doing, I think we're doing an incredible job. So I don't want to disturb them, bother them. I don't think I'm going to learn much. And, I guess you could say that there's probably a natural inclination not to call. Now, if I felt that if I called, I'd learn something, and that would save one life. It would save one life. Okay? I would make the call in 2 minutes, but I don't see that happening. Please.
Can I ask you about the comments that a couple of your former aides have said today? Gary Cohn said, is it time to start discussing the need for a date when the economy can turn back on? Whereas Steve Bannon is saying, drop the hammer today on the virus, we're going to have to take the pain up front, we have to shut it all down.
I saw both.
What acts with the tension between the economic pain we're suffering and, of course, the virus itself and the casualty and deaths from that?
I'm of the opinion we have to do great during this 14 days, during the 15-day period. We'll know at the end of 14 days, pretty much, we're going to have a pretty good idea how we're doing. I think you have to shut it down and you have to see it, but there'll be a point at which we say we're back in business, let's go. Well, those two statements are not mutually exclusive, you understand. I saw both of them today.
Well, I think
And they sort of intermesh.
for more of a shutdown.
Well, he's calling for a faster, just a brutal shutdown, and then open up maybe a little bit faster. So, there's that fine line. Look, we did a big shutdown when we wouldn't allow people from China that could have been very seriously infected, that were, when we cut that off very early. And then we cut Europe off very early, as you know. So that was also very
When do you start opening Main Street
Well,
back
I
up?
can't tell you that. What I have to say is that I think we're going to have good results. I think the American people have been amazing. I think our stimulus package will get done, and it will be a tremendous package. We're really not, they may not have gotten those votes, but they're very close to getting a deal done. So I'd be surprised if they didn't. And if they don't, I think, frankly, the American people will be very upset with the Democrats because the Republicans are ready to approve a deal. So the only reason a deal couldn't get done is pure politics. Yes,
Mr.
please.
President, despite your differences with New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, he says that the city is going to run out of basic hospital supplies by April. How do you prevent New York City from becoming the next Italy?
Well, he should have, the hospital systems in various places. Some have been stocked and ready to go for nothing for this. Nothing. This is beyond anything that anybody ever thought possible. I think you could really say this. Nobody can really, doctor, nobody can really say, oh, gee, this will happen. This is a very unique, and hopefully it will be unique for, many, many centuries, for a long time. Hopefully we don't see this again. But again, the systems are supposed to be ready, willing, and able. They're supposed to be ready to go. We are helping them a lot, and I have great love for New York City, and I have great love for New York State, and we're going to help them a lot. I was just saying, we're sending our ships up there. We're sending more than just this ship. We may be using, if we need, we'll be using some of the cruise ships that you've been reading about. We'll be using them also, because they're very immediate and very quick. They can be there very quickly. We have good docking systems in the places that we're talking about. So we may be using some of the cruise liners that we're talking about. But no, I think Bill de Blasio is working very hard. I think he's trying very hard. It's a tough situation for him and every mayor, because nobody's ever seen the scale. When you hear you've given millions of masks and you've given hundreds of thousands of masks in a certain short period of time, and then you hear they need many, many more. One of the things they have started with respect to masks is the sterilization process. Some are really, it works very well. Others aren't really set up that way. You throw them out. But we have a sterilization process that's working very hard. Speaking of that, hand sanitizers, when you asked the question on the companies and what's going on. We have many companies now, companies that made whiskey, that made alcohol. They've now gone very quickly into the hand sanitizers and all of.
You've been listening in to an update on the coronavirus pandemic. A big takeaway